Alright, let's jump into Roadwarden, shall we? This is I think our third session with the game. It's been pretty cool so far. I really enjoyed it. You don't need to apologize. I'm glad you're enjoying Elden Ring. You don't need to apologize at all. Alright, let's see. The phrase soul carrier describes any shell inhabited by a soul, including humans, spirits, and the right themselves. That's right, our horse's name is Nagy, by the way. And we were visiting with this new character and her family that was pretty interesting. We really enjoyed her. She's like a casual magic user, so she was like using her spells to like open windows to adjust the temperature and like stir the soup. It was pretty cool. And then if I remember right, the strong lady, yeah, with the one arm. Casual magic, yeah. I don't know, these are like little achievements, I think. Or like our choices, perhaps. Or both. I managed to get through the heart of the woods. That was pretty scary. You're in the middle of the yard. Nagy is drinking from the lake. I don't know that we've got anything else. You've achieved choices. And even if you don't make a choice, that's the choice you've made. I forgot Nagy was the horse. Zvi lets out a sigh. Not much to see here, trees, rocks, ponds. I've never been in Howlers, he starts, but then Elon chips in. I have, a couple of times. A nice place, kind folks, lots of grain. They have but one trader, Kakios. He pays poorly, but at least doesn't waste anyone's time. Gets straight to the point, see? He thinks for a bit. And they're all so tall. Twice as tall as he is, he points at Zvi, who frowns and squeaks back at him. Bullshit. You gossip for the next few minutes, but the things they share with you are of little use. They end up saying that you should talk with Foggy instead. She used to travel a lot, and speaks with every visitor. Let's see if she has anything to say inside. I don't think we need to eat. We're looking pretty good stats-wise, but we aren't looking good physically. We look terrible. People stay away from us. Our face is dirty, and our clothes are torn and worn. But we've got full pneuma, which is like our mana, I guess. So we look a little rough, but we feel alright. That's the dream, isn't it? So we don't need to eat anything. We don't have really any money to buy anything. We have 2 gold. Or dragon bone, I think is what the currency is called. I spoke with Caius. I wonder, why did you decide to keep him around? Do I need a reason? Her amused eyes get thoughtful as she looks at the ceiling. He came here as a poor soul in need, taught only how to use a spear and a shield. I know how it feels to have all that you're good at taken away from you. She straightens up and hits her chest with her fist. But so I know that new paths await us, with or without the help of others. Caius's legs may be buried in despair, but I'm ready to throw him a shovel once he asks for it. He pauses, then looks through the window. Though these fantasies of his won't help him ask anytime soon, they swallow his thoughts. Let's see if there's anything we can ask him that we didn't. Oh, okay, so like, if we wanted to ask about like the Elder's Cave, for example. I think we've already read this, but we'll read it again just in case. So asking about that one location. There are druids there in the old flooded mine. I don't know much about them. They keep close to Howler's Dell, helping with animals and plants. Only 2 of them ever came to Creeks, soon after we built our first palisade. My Elon was but a baby. You ask her what they said, and she puts her fist to her forehead. Let me They had no guards, no weapons, not even a wolf. Were older than I am now, but were walking down these roads as if they owned them, and came to warn us, the shamanic twaddle you can hear everywhere, that we are to stay humble and respect their woods. It's the same as it was with the priests of Unites, dear. You keep your eyes low, nod without a word, and let them go and do your own thing. Yeah, so I think we read that. So let's move on. I say we keep going this way and see if we can't, like, sort of close this loop. That might be a good idea. The muddy road slows us down. The road east is beaten and clean, with enough space to fit 2 wagons side by side. You pass by a few plum trees, apple trees, and cherry trees, but many more stumps, likely belonging to what has been turned into Foggy Lake. The life in the plains is busy and loud, but so far you don't see any lurking beasts, judging by the many trampled parts of the meadows and the fresh food trails. The foragers search this corner of the peninsula quite often. They didn't leave much behind. You reach a shining pond at the edge of the forest. You ride beneath 2 trimmed trees growing on the opposite sides of the path, like columns leading to Right's temple. Shouts and heavy steps prepare you for trouble ahead. 2 shells are circling around each other. One of them is a 4-legged saurian, with dark gray skin as long as your palfrey but only knee-high. It's wandering left and right along the bank, hissing, repetitively sticking its split tongue out and then retracting it. The stout monster doesn't look like a born hunter of humans, but its long tail is swinging like a whip. For now, only threateningly so. But you don't doubt that getting hit by it would likely break your bones. The second one belongs to a brown-skinned man wearing leather pants, a long brown woolen cloak, and the matching pelt of a wolf on his head and shoulders, like a haunting hood. His voice is both gentle and scared, and he's stretching his hands in front of him, trying to make the beast stay away, as if it's a mouflon. A third shell is right in the middle between the other 2, a creature you don't recognize from a distance, but it is in a puddle of its own blood, and isn't moving. Axe in hand, I jump to the ground and rush to help. I ride slowly, taking a closer look at the entire situation. Drums. I think it would be really cool if this game had Twitch integration. I don't know if that's something that they're planning or working on, or that would be really cool, I think. This game would really be fun with that. Oh, Kira, I hope you feel better soon. Thanks for saying hi. Hope you get some relief. It sucks not feeling well. Flower, by Twitch integration, I mean like some mechanism by which chat could participate directly in the game. Like if there was like a little 1 and a little 2 right here, people could type 1 or 2 in chat and it would like kind of pop up right here that like +1, +2, +3 people voted for this option. A sinus infection. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry. I hope you feel better. But yeah, I'm glad you're here, and I hope that you get to chill with us and help it, take some of that stress away. I've never really felt like jumping in with our axe is really the wisest choice so far, particularly because we're a mage, or we used to be a mage, or now we're a Roadwarden, but we have that experience. So like physical combat is not our first choice, I feel like. So let's get more information. I ride slowly, taking a closer look at the entire situation. You stand up in the saddle to have a better view, and realize that the corpse on the ground is that of a white ibex. The man, who acknowledges your presence with a nod, speaks with a hint of playfulness in his voice, asking the saurian to be nice, so as to stay away. He then turns toward you and points at the prey. "Friend, lend me a hand, will you? I'm trying to seize it." As you dismount, the saurian takes a step closer to the pond. So we can be friendly, we could be playful, we could be distanced, we can be intimidating, or we can be vulnerable. And as we learned last time, we can actually click on these and see what we would say. thought the beast killed someone. That would be our first... If we say this, it'll be our first time using the vulnerable option. Although friendly, how can I help is probably a good choice as well. Carla was just on the ottoman next to me. She hopped down on the ground, ran a circle around my feet, and then sat down right next to my left foot. She's so cute. Let's go with how can I help? He grins and triumphantly raises a finger. That's the spirit. This ibex is our destiny, friend. He points at the beast, and as his hat moves around, the loose, shaking jaw distracts you. Say, friend, do you have any fruit in those sacks? Throw some at it. Do we have fruit? I mean, IRL, I never go anywhere without bringing some fruit. I mean, we have a jar of troll piss. Does that help? Food rations. So we do have some fruit, but that would be a whole ration, and that's our last one. Oh, wild plants. Let's do that. I unpack some wild fruits. I throw a raw fish at the creature. Take this. Let's try. You lost a bunch of wild plants. That's okay. You show him a sack and he eagerly nods. Perfect. Go ahead. Throw them. You grab apples and pears that don't look so appetizing and toss them toward the beast. They land just next to it, and while it walks left and right, moving its tongue in and out rapidly, it only crushes some of the fruits with its feet. Maybe more would do it. Without asking for your permission, the man grabs a few more plums, throwing them right at the beast's head. They land, and the creature cuts the air with its tail, hissing angrily. But other than that, nothing changes. Know what? I think the fruit eaters have those yellow dots on their backs. He starts, but clears his throat after he meets your eyes. What an ass. He just wasted all my fruit. Yeah, let's pretend we're playing Hitman for a second and throw a raw fish at someone. He and his wolf's head nod enthusiastically. That's a great idea. You toss the cold creature a few feet ahead of you, making it land just in front of the beast. For a moment, it doesn't even lean forward, instead moving its tongue in and out rapidly. Welcome in, Raiders. Hello, everyone. I don't know why that alert played twice. That was a little odd, but that's okay. How's it going, everybody? Nat, thank you so much for the raid. I know exactly what you were playing. You were playing Bloodborne. And you beat Shadows of Yharnam today. Good on you, Nat. Very well done. That was a great fight. If anybody here isn't following Nat, you definitely should be. One of my favorite streamers to watch. And IM is here. Hello, IM. So we're playing something a little bit different. We're playing a game called Roadwarden. And it's all text in this really charming like pixel art. It's got great sound design. And it's pretty immersive. It feels like you're playing a fantasy novel, basically. Really, really good writing, which is, of course, pretty important for a game like this. And I've never played a text-based RPG before. Well, I mean, not since, like, Oregon Trail or something, you know? So it's very, very cozy. So I hope you're for a chill time. I know it's not Bloodborne, but we might play a little bit of Bloodborne later, because I had a lot of fun jumping back into New Game Plus the other night, so we might do that a little later on. But for now, thank you, Nat, for the raid. I hope everybody's having a good time zone. And yeah, feel free to hang out as long as you like. I don't know, again, why my alert played double. I might... Yeah, I've got the monitor off on that. OBS is so weird. Oh, I think I know exactly which hunter you mean. Is it the humanoid enemy in like the next in Bergenworth? Yeah. I totally understand. You'll get them next time. Yeah, they do a certain spell. I don't know. I don't think they're called spells, but I know exactly which attack it is. Ugh. Yeah, the hunter fights in that game are nails. It's just classic FromSoft as well. To like you get past this huge stumbling block, and then they throw something like that at you. But I'm excited for you, Nat, because the game really kicks off here. The story just accelerates, and it's going to be really cool. So I'm excited to see what you think about such a great game as Bloodborne. But yeah, go take care of yourself, and maybe we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you again for the raid. So we're dealing with this, it's basically like a small dragon. After a short hiss, it cuts the air to its left and right with its tail, then dashes forward to swallow the fish whole. You and the hooded man wait for a few breaths, but nothing changes. The creature tries to grab the ibex. The man moves forward to scare it away. Then both of the shells step back, afraid to make the first move. Are you sure it was fresh? He turns away after you give him a harsh look. This guy's pushing his luck with me, honestly. I sigh and look at my weapon. I'll distract it. You grab the ibex and drag it away. Throw him next. Exactly. I'm wondering why it's not giving me the option to use a spell here. Okay, let's see how this goes. He scratches his hood and nods with approval. You know what, friend? That's an excellent plan. Do so. Without another glance, he once again shouts at the beast, then dashes away from you, followed by his cape. The monster hisses and reaches forward as if waiting to see what you're going to do. You step forward, hoping to draw the monster's attention as far away from the carcass as possible. It answers your challenge and shortens the distance even further. I focus on avoiding its attacks. I try to wound it. I try to look big and scare it away with shouts and gestures. Should we try to look big? Let's try to avoid its attacks. How do you expect it to strike? Well, I didn't know there would be follow-up questions. What? Lane, same. Okay, so I keep an eye on its tail. I jump away when it opens its mouth. I jump aside when it tries to pin me to the ground. Let's keep an eye on the tail, because that's what's been warning us about. The Saurian still surprises you with the range of its attacks. It turns around while pouncing forward and swings the tail at your chest. Thanks to all the attention you paid to its movement, you duck beneath it, then jump away. The next few sways are distant enough that you don't have to fear them. Ha! Dumb beast, you hear. The thief is running away with the ibex on his back, holding it by the legs while it hangs from his shoulders. You chase after him, barely able to outspeed the monster yourself, as it has already lost any interest in you. Without your help with the weight of the carcass, you doubt the man could get far. I shout at Nagy to run. You follow the trail of blood, as well as the constantly bouncing head of a brown wolf. Once you get close, the man doesn't mind sharing the burden with you. You now hold the creature by its head, and while running side by side is awkward, the weight isn't overwhelming. Your palfrey leads the two of you up the hill. It didn't even touch you, Some good dodging. He warmly laughs. But let's not tempt fate. He looks back, yells in panic, and speeds up. I tell him to prepare for a fight. But the clash never comes. After another minute, the beast gives up on its pursuits, though you wouldn't have realized if it wasn't for Nagy, who now trots without a single care. You look back, and the Saurian indeed backs down. moving to its pond slowly. Once you approach the woods, you take a short break. Even from a distance, you can see a distinct trail leading between the trees. Not a garden, this forest. The man speaks briefly, gasping from the burden, but not too dark. The cats are but few. Boars are there, though, and gargoyles. Better not go too deep. There are no roads there. His face is not much older than 20, shaved with great care, cleaner even than among the city folk. While his hood and heavy cloak mask his figure, he seems well fed and healthy. We're halfway there, friend. Creeks is a gorgeous place. You know, you'll love it. It's a gorgeous place, you know. You'll love it. Maxed out luck stat, exactly. Nagy of the Sugar Cube, he loves that shit. I'm sure I will. Carrying the ibex takes a while, but the man is incapable of being silent. Every unusual tree seems to be tied to a story from his life, and he makes sure that you notice the first stream you cross on a new solid bridge. One of many creeks, you see, he says with untamed amusement. A thin gorge leads you between the mountains. This place is quite susceptible to bandits. It truly feels like an end of the realm. Let's kind of stay cautious, I guess. You follow the trail of shouts and laughter. 7 people, about 20 years old each, are gathered at the wooden bridge, leaning against the railing, bathing in the stream, lying on the grass. Pieces of clothing made of fur and leather are spread around, next to cudgels and throwing clubs. Once the sound of hoofs manages to break through the chattering, the curious young eyes, untouched by wartime, turn toward you, and an excited whisper spreads. The shells are proudly displayed, and the confident smiles are both inviting and challenging. How's water? The hunter greets his tribesfolk while stepping on the logs. Gentle and warm, says a man resting on his friend's shoulder. That's a nice ibex. There are paths leading in many directions, but the main road will take you uphill. Awkward. As I walk past the naked people, I look at the watchtower. There's no reason for me to be embarrassed. I look at them. Brooksy is here. I'm going to look at the audio settings because that's very weird. Brooksy, welcome in. 18 months, my friend. How you doing? Thank you very much for the resub. What is with my sound? Rachel is here. And Stu. I didn't see Stu. Hello, Stu. Spice as well. Have a good lurk, Spice. We'll see you in a little bit. I don't understand why the sounds are doubling up. Rachel, thank you for the 21 months. And Stu for the bits. I don't have any nested scenes. At least I don't think so, because I don't know what that means. Stu, thank you for the bits. Very good to see you, my friend. Rachel, thank you for the 21 months. Love you too. Thank you. And Brooksy, thank you for the 18, my friend. Really appreciate that. Hope everybody's having a lovely time zone. We're having a very chill time with Roadwarden. Yeah, I don't think I have any nested scenes. They're all on their own. And my alert box. Cades. Thank you, Cades, for the gift sub to Doden. Enjoying an edible. Nice. I haven't had an edible in ages. I've got it set as monitor off as well. Rachel, thank you for the 200 bits. That's very thoughtful of you. Thank you. Thank you again, Kate, for that gift sub. I'm under the influence of coffee. And Stu, I'm very glad to hear about Jen. I hope she continues to improve quickly. I know she's been feeling very rough for days and like over a week now. I hope she gets to have some relief soon. Jill. I just got here, but Hype Train. Thank you, Jill, for the 100 bits. Thanks for the hype, everybody. The Atlas 6. No, I have not, Rachel. Is it good? I just started a new book the other night. I don't remember the author's name. But it's new. It's the newest book I've read in a long, long time. It's called Cloud Cuckoo Land. And it's very interesting so far. It kind of takes place all over. What's it like, Rachel? Is it like is it fantasy? Is it like sci-fi? It kind of sounds like sci-fi for some reason. Oh, I love when you fall into a new series. Yeah, I started the 7th Dune book, I think. And it just kind of started to lose me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break. Jill, it's actually from a play by Diogenes. So I'm sure it's referenced all over the place. Yeah. Diogenes was a total G. Oh, that sounds cool. That sounds really interesting, actually. Thank you, everybody, for the hype. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. God, this music is so good as well. So we're approaching a new settlement, I think. The light dances on wet hair, both of their heads and crotches luring your eyes just as much as the revealed chests and muscular arms. You've interrupted not just their bath. The soul who's speaking with your guide is embracing another man as he's sitting behind him, while one of the women is keeping her arm around the waist of yet another man. You hardly see any wounds or marks caused by sickness. The harshest days of this group are still ahead. As you move your eyes from one person to another, they greet you with kind nods, but you notice that their eyes are focused on your rugged clothes. Once you step off the bridge, the hunter chuckles, seeking warmth. Don't worry, we're not that obsessed with outfits. The wolf's head bounces as he speaks. Awesome, Rachel. I hope that you enjoyed Dune. The first... they're definitely worth reading. I just was getting a little bit, I think, fatigued with it. And the one I was reading was like the newest... Or, let's see. I don't remember which one it was. I think it's the 7th one. It might have been the 6th one. Yeah, and it also like introduced this new group. And it just felt a little forced. Like it was like, oh, by the way, this whole time there's been this other group that's now really important. It was like, okay. But it's definitely worth reading, especially the first few. Yeah. Stu, absolutely. Having a good, cozy place to read is important. God Emperor is a trip. God Emperor opens up and it's like, okay, so it's 2,500 years later. And you're just like, what? Okay. Lucidity is here. Hello, Lou. Good to see you, man. Hope you're well. We are talking Dune, yeah. I nod to the group, then follow the man. The palisade is as tall as trees, but being placed on the top of the crags makes it look impassable. What? Why is the gate closed? The hunter turns to the watchtower and repeats his question only louder. Maybe call Ella. Too blind to see we have a guest, A hardly visible guard with a female voice leans from the tower. He's coming, Howler. Relax. Her shouts hint of no patience toward him. The youth dine in the woods after the bath. Why wouldn't we close? The man glances at you. Who's Ella? I whisper. Oh, yeah, if it's that many books in one, it's going to be like 50 pages per percent. Foundation series. I might read that also, Lucidity. I see that quite a bit at the library. Coast. Sorry, we're coast. I mean, Asimov is pretty... it's a pretty safe bet that it's going to be good. Just my brother. He gestures for you to ignore it. And I'm Ephraim. So, thanks to our parents, folks keep mistaking our names, but Ella has a stick in his ass and is as boring and nagging as a legless donkey. The soul from the tower hides again and the gate opens. We enter the village. The sparse clumps of grass survive only on the edges of this spacious yard. The few onlookers wear working clothes suitable for their hard labor. They're carrying tools, planks, and logs. You're next to a large building of unusual shape, either a temple or a house of gathering. It makes you think of a cabin that's been getting larger over the course of the years, with the section in the middle being darker and more crude than the outer ones. A slightly overweight man is standing in front of the building with open arms. Welcome to Creeks, friend. His voice and eyes are gentle, but there's a vigor in his stance and gestures. Ephraim was meant to hunt, but I see he brought not one, but two unusual creatures. The hunter rolls his eyes. Don't embarrass us with this prattle. He raises his voice and fills it with bitterness, addressing no soul in particular, and maybe ask someone to help us with this ibex. It's our shared catch. He points at you. Now I want to know to whom we are grateful. Ella nods towards you. While I introduce myself, I observe him more closely. Being close to 30 years old, he's one of the older souls around. Just like the other villagers, he has clothes made of animals, not plants. The leather pants and jacket are humble, but the shoulder cape reaching from his neck to elbows used to belong to a yellow elk. His brown skin is darker than that of a farmer, and as you look at the outreached hands, they carry the marks of being cut by tools. And I'm Ella, the carpenter. He takes a step toward the fruit trees and invites you to move forward. Like most men in the village, he's cleanly shaved. How about I show you the rest of the village? It may be humble, but it's as beautiful as a blue starling. So we could be friendly. Thanks, Ella. That sounds lovely. Playful. Oh, that's weird. I'm not going to say that. Distanced. Intimidating. There's no need for that. Vulnerable. No, let's be friendly. Thanks, Ella. That sounds lovely. As he grins, you notice his unusually white teeth. He moves with heavy but enthusiastic steps. It won't really take that long, but we have quite a view. I swear, interrupts the hunter, I'm not carrying this ibex to the kitchen. Someone call the cooks. After dropping the carcass on the ground, he springs away, fretting at the blood on his hands. Let's take a stroll then, says Ella as he leads you forward. Your mount can drink at the creek here. Come, Nagy. Just a reminder, our horse's name is Nagy. You tether your mount to a tree, next to a drying laundry. Ella points to the land behind the bridge proudly, our newest addition to the village. The hunters grow old, so we are taking steps away from meat and fruits. You spot only two people working in the field, or rather, a large garden covered with cabbages, carrots, onions, and garlic, indistinguishable from the wild plants growing in the woods. On the path between the two halves of the field, an elderly woman is sitting on a stool, looking in your direction, as if you're interrupting her contemplation. Old Hava there will turn this place into a proper farm one day. She has little strength, but keeps precious memories of her trade. You lack proper seeds. I speak quietly. She seems austere. Ephron snorts, holding his laughter. Just be happy you haven't grown under her. I'm lucky to have my ears, after all the pulling and pinching. Don't overcolor. She shares a lot. Ella invites you with a gesture to follow him deeper into the village. At least, not the quiet children. Just let her do the talking. The fewer things you say, the fewer reasons for her to get upset. Yeah, I know the type. The bonfire spot is surrounded by logs that were cut into tables and stools. Ella approaches the nearest chair, rubbing its back with his cut hands. When we share a meal, we do so here, sometimes beneath the stars. You'd have to see it. The flames dance on the walls to the monster roars and crickets. Ephron's voice also grows in enthusiasm. Dining at the edge of the forest is something you wouldn't forget. Unless you can drink, don't swallow anything stronger than spoiled ibex milk. The shadows, friend. Terrifying. You glance over the wooden buildings. While the walls seem fine, the roofs are primitive, mostly made of planks that are already soggy and bent. There are a few people working on cleaning bark from a log, but the square is mostly quiet, with a few kids observing you from above their toys. Burning such fires must take a lot of wood. A bit of a fire hazard, isn't it? I imagine what such dinners would look like, one big family. Let's say this. It's not something we need to worry about. Ella shows you to look around. We mostly burn what's left after sawing and construction, gathering fuel for a few dozen days. Some of us think they can learn woodworking all by themselves, Ephron says mockingly. So we waste a lot of wood. At least we can roast meat on long sticks as we sit here. Nah, we already have results. The carpenter moves his hand from the chair to his stomach. Everything you see here, friend, was built by us and our elders. How about I show you our old forest? Is it far away? Get more actual paper books. Yeah, I've been reading mostly on an e-reader because I've really been enjoying this year especially. I've really been reading a lot in bed before I go to sleep. And that's been really nice because then I don't have to have another light. And it doesn't wake Sal up. So yeah, if anybody out there has a e-reader, your local library will often have ways to download books straight to that device. And that's what I've been doing. Library hype. Yeah, it's usually through an app called Libby. A Kindle Paperwhite, yeah. So you should be able to download, if you have a library card, you can download Libby. And Overdrive is what runs Libby, yeah. It's sort of all the behind the scenes of how Libby works is Overdrive. And yeah, that way you can borrow books digitally, and it's really nice. Also, at least with my library, it's only 2 weeks borrow time, and I don't usually finish a book in 2 weeks, at least not the length of books I've been reading lately. Except for the Murakami books. I've been blasting through those. But like a fantasy book or something, it's hard to read that in 2 weeks. But if you don't close the book out, like if you don't go to your home screen on your device, and you just leave the book open, and you can power it on and off, or sleep and wake it and charge it and everything. As long as you don't close it, it doesn't go back and like check for the license again. So as long as you just keep the book open and don't read something else, you can read it as long as you want. It never goes away until you close out. Jill, they might just need to verify your address, and you might be able to do that online or even call them. Because libraries are often funded by property taxes, so they just need to make sure that you're still living within the region. Oh, they want you in? Oh, that's annoying. Alright, you find the answer right away. You stand between two of the houses in front of the gate of an animal pen. The walls are made of sharpened trunks and are as tall as two humans. The captured beasts are tethered by ropes, but have enough freedom to wander and graze. 2 brown boars and a black mouflon. And here are our captives, Ephraim declares proudly. I know it's still a bit empty, but we'll crowd it just before winter. Are the ropes really enough to keep them there? Can't they chew through them? Are you going to care from the... I think we know what the answer to that is going to be. The hunter swallows loudly, already thinking about his next meal. Nah, they're here for the meat and skin. Once the snow falls, we'll butcher them. The carpenter gives him a sullen glance, then squeezes the lower edge of his jacket. I'd love to keep them with us. I don't even like meat. We could start a mouflon herd or any other, but it's too dangerous with such weak defenses. He leans on the gate. Our houses are too small for them, and having loud beasts outside during cold months would lure predators. We tried. He falls silent for a bit, and once he picks up the conversation, his voice returns to its previous proud tone. You'll understand better if you take a look at our old forest, friend. He points at the area behind the palisade. I look north. So most likely it'll, show us what's here now when I click this. Yeah, I love that. An irrational fear of libraries. That's a new one. I don't think I've heard of that. Hey Mar, welcome in, dude. Good to see you. I get kind of creeped out sometimes too, but I don't know that it's the library itself. How did the car repair go, by the way, Mar? It's good to see you, man. Hope you're doing all right. The vast clearing is returning to life, with shrubs spread between the paths and tree stumps. You move to the bridge, then a gateway, and have a chance to look around. We can see the edge of our world from the watchtower, Ella narrates sublimely. In the long distance, the plateau ends, surrounded by cliffs. You either climb up the mountains or fall to your death. Both men tell you about the difficult past of the village, a desperate camp, then a cabin, then 2, shifting its wooden walls as more and more trees were cut. Without tree crowns, we can walk with no shadows, beast dens, gargoyle eyes, concludes the carpenter. Nice. Skill hype for Mar. Is it really better than a forest garden? It would produce much more food. Now I only see berries. I'm surprised that the wrath of the herds hasn't smitten you yet. These pointed sticks won't stop a unicorn. Let's ask about the garden. You hit the heart of our worries, friend, Ella admits, and is interrupted by the hunter quickly. We did what we had to do to push away the beasts. They don't feel safe here and don't seek food on the shrubs as they would on trees. Ella tells you there's one more thing to see, and as you walk away, he returns to the matter at hand. The animals keep their distance now, at least in the meadows, so hunting for them gets difficult, and meat with hardly any mushrooms and herbs gets bland. A forest garden would solve the problem, sure, but we don't know enough to even start one. Hence, a field of berries. He taps his stomach. First, we need to learn how to feed our children. We lack strength and skill. Ephraim looks at you. But we have time. Hey, Dougie, welcome in. Doing all right. Hope you're doing well. Only cost $200. That's not bad for a car repair. Yeah, I rarely drive, as I think many of you know, and my check engine light came on last night on the way home from getting something to eat with Sal, so that's a lovely sinking feeling. I nod. With time comes opportunity. Let's say that. You reach the edge of the village, a cliff as tall as the wall beneath you. 2 creeks meet each other and form a gentle river. These are the trees we use to learn more about woodwork. Ella is smiling as he leans his back against the wall of a house. We'll plant new ones, but we'll soon have to bring wood from further away. Give the saplings a few years, or however long they grow. A decade? And this is where I leave the 2 of you. With your boring tree talks. Ephraim points at you. See me later if you need. I'll be around. I rarely hunt alone. The carpenter watches his departing companion with genial eyes. Well, there's work to be done. A new chair awaits me. He leads you to a humble working station, placed at the edge of the square. The tools you notice are very simple, if not primitive. We don't have to talk about my trade. Leto, what brings you to us? Let's see. I've heard about the bandits. Have they caused you any troubles? Is Asterion around? That's the former Roadwarden who we're still looking for. This village isn't much older than you are. What's its story? I'd like to learn more about the peninsula. What do you think about Ephron? I've heard you have some issues with the Eastern Path. I imagine being a carpenter is part of the realm. At this part of the realm isn't easy. I'll see you later. Yeah, my car is just slowly falling apart. I've had it for a very long time. But like I said, I very rarely drive, so. It's a Scion TC, the first year they came out with them. I bought it new when I was a teenager. It's a manual transmission, which I really like. Oh, good to hear, Dougie. Very glad to hear that. Let's ask about the bandits. He makes an awkward cut with a chisel and lets out a quiet "shit," and starts to rub the plank with his thumb. Bandits, you say? Soldiers from the city have already taken care of them. Alright, that's good. Is Asterion around? He halts his work and looks at you with an exaggerated frown. That's a weird question. You're the first Roadwarden I've seen in, well, this season, I think. Did you check in the western villages? You'll get to Howler's Dell simply by staying on the road. His right hand, still holding a tool, is now squeezing his stomach gently. No worries, Mar. Have a good lurk. Good to see you, man. People say that Asterion has spent a lot of time in your village. You're hiding something? Is that too aggressive? Let's try it. He adjusts his shoulder cape and clears his throat with a grunt. People, well, there's some truth to that, but Asterion isn't here, and we don't know where he is. He took our coins, but for fair labor. He moved wares to other settlements, patrolled the roads, escorted an old woman to a druid and back. Did you know he can get good prices for iron? Did you know you can get good prices for iron at Howler's Dell, but even better at White Marshes? Seeing your look, he turns away and rests his elbow on his workbench. His plans are his own problem, and I've no reason to believe he wanted to be found. Nor can I help you. This village isn't much older than you are. What's its story? He proudly raises a carving knife and gestures for you to look around. It may be a young village, but there's a lot to say. While his story is bloated with names, relationships, a step-by-step description of the growth of the settlement, and bothersome creatures, you get the gist of it. The settlers arrived here 25 years ago, soon after one of the 10 cities had fallen to the southern invasion. Most of them came from the capital, while some joined them along the way. They soon came to realize that none of the villages had enough space or the will to host a few dozen refugees. The folks of Gale Rocks used to have a much kinder attitude towards strangers than they do now, and they offered the newcomers to stay at the beach behind their village. Yet there was nothing for them to eat, other than what they caught in the salt waters. They soon started their search for a land remote enough to not compete with the locals, and with the help of kind folks from Gale Rocks, White Marshes, Old Pagos, and others, as Ella vaguely states, they received enough wood and tools to turn a scrap of this plateau into a clearing, then a camp, a hamlet, and finally, a village. Fascinating stuff. The tale is assisted by walking around the village, introducing you to the original settlers or their offspring, and showing you some of the treasures displayed in the House of Gatherings. A unicorn's horn found at the heart of the woods, a blue rock that's shaped and hollow like an egg and is darker inside, an arrow that's hit a fright tape in the eye, fright ape in an eye and knocked it down. Behind each of them, there are names, stories, and memories. At the very end, Ella leads you back to his workbench, holding a hand on his conspicuous stomach. To give his throat some rest, he turns the topic around. And what are the folks in Hoblivon like? What are they like, friend? Foggy says there are thousands of souls at the capital, and one can go their entire life still finding new faces in the crowd. Yeah, they sound kind of spooky. It may be so, but my city feels lonely. There are many people around, but all of them are too busy with their duties to share their lives with others. People spend time with their families and close friends, especially ones they work with. They are close to each other, but no soul knows what happens behind doors. In the evenings, the streets feel empty. It's hard to get to know new people when everyone's so busy, but kids spend a lot of time together and build long-time friendships. One can easily find groups to hang out with. People shop together, work, take baths, pray, and when one has nothing to do in the evening, they just go outside and seek company. It's not easy to build a strong friendship, though. Hard to say. The merchants are getting richer, the priests have their games, craft guilds decide who goes in and out, and the workers have to compete. There are no monsters on the streets, at least not every day, but there's distrust in many souls. I guess we'll say that. He looks at you with a sigh. I know folks go there to be safe, but what you describe, friend, sounds like a place darker than the heart of the woods. It's exactly that. It's not if you're at the top. He adjusts his shoulder cloak and reaches for the next plank without saying anything. He pretends that there are no bandits in the north. I need to gain his trust. I'd like to learn more about the peninsula. Our tribe won't be much of a help there, he admits, while judging the harsh surface of a small plank. It was our parents who did all the traveling, and they did so while we were kids, or not yet born. Most of them are already gone, and most of us travel no farther than to Foggy's, and only when we have to. What do you think about Ephron? He gives you a surprised look. I care for him deeply. He's brave and has a big heart, but both of our pasts were rough. I don't think you need to hear about them. He doesn't trust me enough to tell me about his brother. I've heard you have some issues with the Eastern Path. At first he gives you a bright smile, but then nods with a sigh. Aye. So our issues are so clear that folks gossip on them. I'm glad you came to our help, friend, but it doesn't feel right to admit we need help from an outsider. He stands up slowly, walks away, and leaps over one of the log-made tables and looks for something in the pile of wood. In this part of the land, there's always going to be something to do for a Roadwarden. He straightens up with a piece of charred wood in his hand and gets back to you. As he draws black lines on the workbench, he mentions a few names. Creeks, Foggies, Gale Rocks, here's the lake. The map is simplistic and doesn't align with your own understanding of local distances, but you follow his description without issues. The path from here to the south is getting too wild for us. He repines, making another few strokes. The merchants travel through the other route, through Howler's Dell, passing by Old Pagos and White Marshes. Once they reach Foggy, they already have full stomachs, and many deals closed. And when they travel back, they visit the same places again. Folks already know that trading here takes a long time. No worries, Rachel, have a good lurk. Thanks for saying hi, and thank you for the bits. And the 21-month resub. Thank you very much, Rachel. One of the best. So you want me to give them an option to get to you first and move west without backtracking, and do so all by myself. How exactly? Journal updated the Eastern Path. Thank you, Rach. I hope you have a lovely night. Evening, I guess. Well, I'm sure you can find some help. He pats his stomach without noticing that he leaves a few black dots on his leather jacket. There's a few things you could do. Follow the eastern road and see if it's clear. Are there any safe shelters left? Any blockades to get rid of? Is there an overgrown path to burn? Maybe see if the road from here to the western crossroads is safe, or if the carts could get through the heart of the woods, if you're brave enough. I hope you're a soul with sage judgment. Seeing your puzzled look, he rests his palms on the table with a shy smile. I know I'm vague, but I bet you already know more about these roads than I do, friend. His eyes return to the map, and after a moment of hesitation, he rubs an uneven line with his thumb. I forgot to mention my pay. How can you know if I'll be honest with you? Where would you like me to start? Wouldn't it be better for you to put work into the western road? You could split the labor with the other settlements. Where would you like me to start? Go to the shelters set just at the side of the roads. There's a ruined campsite west of Foggy's. He makes a small circle on his map. Or you could go south to a cabin our elders built. He makes a larger square. It's halfway from here to the river. Take a look around, see what's their condition, and if there are any beasts around. You can handle a few small creatures, can't you? Oh, we're up here. See, I thought we were going this way. But I think that's where we want to go next. I don't know if it's going to, like, connect like that. And then I think this is going to fill in maybe if we clear this road. I don't even know if that's a good idea to do so. So 2 shelters, and then you just want me to take everything I find. He laughs, but not with his eyes. Forgive me, friend, but you don't sound like someone with much experience behind them. You're nothing like Asterion. He took pride in his self-reliance. Speaking of self-reliance, they can't be trusted, especially some of them. He crosses the western side of his map with a long, thin line. Even a paved route would force merchants to add a day of pointless travel to their plans, and that's a big loss in their trade. Having our path clear gives everyone more options, and more convenience. Let's ask about pay. That depends on what you're about to do. The tribe has but a few dragons. To confirm his words, he enters the nearby house, from which he picks up an old wooden case, crude in shape and with an unsightly engraving of a 3-headed hydra on its lid. Inside it, you see maybe 24 dragon bones. Let's say you'll get a dragon for any news about cleared or blocked areas, and more if it takes real effort from you. We have a deal. He flashes you a wide smile and pats his stomach. You won't regret this. He then throws away the charred wood, returns to his stool, and looks for his tools. I already have some information for him. The brook ford leading to the heart of the woods won't support wagons and carts. I still don't know the condition of the watchtower. The shelter in the west isn't safe. Better to stay away from it until the dusk foxes move out. Dusk foxes? After he meets your silence, he carries on. I don't know what that is. You describe their looks and threat they present as Ella observes the clouds, sometimes asking you to explain more. He finally squeezes his cloak and reaches for a coin that's been resting on the workbench. Well, sounds not as dangerous as a tribe of goblins, but it may be better for us to hunt them down in spring. We may need your help then. For now, a single dragon bone will be fair pay for the news. Thanks. Well, that's a start. Keep it up. I took a look at the dolmen in the south. It's safe. He keeps sculpting wood and asks you about the size and the entrance of the chapel. I've heard it's small, but not that small. Not enough for a group, but maybe a lone traveler without a mount. He looks at you with a smile. Pick a dragon bone from the case, will you? I don't want to stop now. You reach toward the ugly head of a hydra. I grab a coin. Good to see you don't idle around, Roadwarden. I encountered a fallen tree in the far south. You describe its exact location. I guess it was unavoidable for this to happen at one point or the other. Too bad it's so far away from here. He stops his work and turns toward you. So, would you like to help us with that, friend? You ask him what he proposes, and he describes what he calls a day of honest work. Just come to me someday in the early hours. I still need to discuss this with the tribe, but I'll ask the stronger folks to travel with you to the tree. They'll agree if they feel like the roads can be trusted. Split it into blocks, get it on wagons, bring it here. It won't go to waste, and the road will be cleaned. When you mention it's going to take an entire day, he agrees, and you'll get 5 dragon bones for it. Just come to me when you're healthy, and only if you already know what's on the route from here to that point. We'll put a lot of trust into your guidance and protection, Leto. I'm not going to waste an entire day on a dangerous journey just to see how your tribe beats a trunk. You can do that on your own. I'll be amenable to that. He thinks about your words, then reaches for his case. You're right. That's a lot. I can't help you much, but at least you deserve 1 bone right away for bringing me the message. Maybe buy some rations for it, or a good rest. Actually, we also need at least 1 day to prepare ourselves. Thanks. We're making a lot of money here all of a sudden. We have 5 whole coins. Imagine. I'll let you know if there's anything else. He blows at the shavings, sending them flying to settle on the ground, then considers the next tool to select. Yay! Hello, Topaz. Welcome in. Doing alright. How are you doing? Hope that you're well. It's okay, Stu. I know you didn't mean it. About the Eastern Path. Okay. I imagine being a carpenter in this part of the realm isn't easy. You have a healthy imagination. He rests his elbow on the workbench and smiles. I have patience, and I'm getting better with tools, and these are some shoddy tools, he says singingly, and it's hard to disagree with him. They have been used for many years, and with only the wooden parts being somewhat in shape since they seem to have been recently replaced. The steel chisels and saws are jagged and dull. The hammers and axes are made of stone. Some of them were brought here by the settlers, and we can't buy any more right now. There's work to be done, but I do have a plan. You ask him to explain, and he's all too eager to do so. He enters the nearby house and shows you his more successful works, each of which has some shortcomings, noticeable even to a layperson. A bowl engraved with fish was poorly planned, with animals too large to fit the entire space, so a part of it is blank. A simple relief of two naked people in their embrace looks almost believable, but the legs are in one case too long, and in the other, too short. One chair has a broken leg, and the remaining three show that they are a bit too ambitiously shaped and got dangerously thin. The chest seems fine, but equipment sticks out of it, and the man acknowledges that he wrongly estimated the required size. So you want to be an artist? Better. I want to turn pots, cups, weapons, cupboards, everyday stuff into things of beauty. Seeing your look, he pats his stomach. I know I'm far from mastering it, but trust me, these are so much better than the ones I did this winter. And I started only 3 years ago. His pride makes him look even larger, especially in the shoulders. There aren't many carpenters in the peninsula. Folks do things for their own use, but I'll be a specialist. It's the city thing. Foggy told me so. Not just a jointer, but someone who does only a few things, but better than the others. The tribe supports me with food and time, and I'll pay them back with dragon bones and prettier houses. When he leads you outside, you start to share some of his excitement, but most of it dwindles away after you sit down at his workbench again, on wobbly stools, surrounded by broken planks and crude tools. Hey, Ghost. Welcome in, dude. Good to see you. Perfect. I'll see you later. Nagy is pawing the ground and welcomes your arrival with a snort. Let's talk to Ephron. He raises an eyebrow, then the wolf's head, as if to see you better. What do you think about Ellen? Ilan? He repeats your question, making sure he heard correctly. I respect him. He took good care of me as an older brother. Our tale isn't an easy one, so I'd rather keep it to ourselves before you blurt something back to him. So he doesn't trust me enough, which makes sense. Are you the only hunter around? But of course not. He takes a suspiciously long pause. 7 of us. The tribe is small. We have enough food without daily trips. If we catch too much meat, it spoils, so it's better to let the animals feel safe. You try to change the topic, but the man suddenly looks around and lowers his wolf's head. Well, there's just one issue. 3 of my friends left the village just a few days ago, and they haven't returned yet. But they should. Ella is growing worried. Why do you think the hunters aren't back yet? He walks around from time to time looking at you with an open mouth, not sure how to start. He takes off his heavy cloak and looks you in the eyes. They left for a few days to seek and kill some big game, each of them a different one, then bring all of them for me to judge. His confident voice falters when he mentions his own part. The winner would have caught me the prey of the greatest size, rarity, utility, and of the greatest threat. He turns away and lowers the wolf's mouth. I would agree, Lane. I would have to agree. Tell me more about those 3. They're hunters and fighters, but also close friends. If one of them was in trouble, the others would have done all they could to help. They've been a team for years, and we're planning to start a family this winter, you know. Their last big adventure before Dahlia's belly locks her at home. He gives you quite a tale of their deeds and features. Dahlia is the bravest of them, with strong legs. She has simple ways and looks for beasts in the open, by the roads. Her hair is light, always tied in a single braid. Admon is a man who seeks paths and challenges. He believes that seeking knowledge of the peninsula will bring the tribe ways to survive hardships. He is, smaller than the others, and knows more about dressing the wild game than any of us. His arms are small, so he often places traps. His hair is a bit darker than Dahlia's, but short, just like his beard. Vashel is not a man, though they were born with a prick, and wears browns and greens to blend in with the trees. They hunt like a gargoyle, hiding among leaves, jumping at a creature when it gets close. Because of that, they've often roamed in the woods, even those that are far away from the village. So it's like a non-binary person? It's kind of a clumsy way to put that, but okay. This sounds serious, but if you want me to look for them, I still deserve a reward. And where should I start? Let's say I were to find them. What should I tell them? Does your tribe often send lone hunters? Why not work in groups? Thank you, Topaz. Take care of yourself. Have a lovely night. That emote's really something. Take care, Topaz. See you soon. Yeah, I think it's the hunter talking, being tactless about it. Yeah, and that's one thing I've liked so far about this game is it doesn't really call attention to those things. I mean, this character kind of does because he seems like a bit of a twonk, but the game itself has been very cool about just all the different people that exist in this world, and it just makes it feel more immersive to me personally. A twonk? Yeah, you know, being a twonk, don't be a twonk. Yeah, it does. It does. That one would really hurt. Yeah, that's what I pictured. Or the Batman slapping someone meme. Flower and Lane. Yeah, like the kapow. Let's say I were to find them, what should I tell them? Have you no shred of optimism? Maybe they're fine. Just tell them to come home. We've got enough wood and food to start the next feast. And I have a hint that an honorable guest may be welcome there. He smiles at you, and for a moment, you think you see the wolf's head wink. Where should I start? He looks at you as if you're slow. I would have found them myself if I knew. Let the horse take you to other settlements, ask there. Why not send groups? This isn't a hunt, but a competition. The winner names their first child. I have heard of their arguments. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to pick a name when you have 3 parents. He chuckles to himself. Oh, that's cool. They're all a group. Once the memory fades, he gets serious again. But I can't disagree with you, friend. It's the first time in many years since my tribesfolk have gone on such a reckless trip. I fear it may remind us why the peninsula isn't a place for adventures. This sounds serious, but if you want me to look for them, I still deserve a reward. Isn't helping 3 strong souls enough? Seeing your look, he raises his voice, draws his obsidian-edged club, and touches his chest with it. Then I will loyally assist you, friend, for your brave deeds. You may count on me on a day of great challenge. As he lowers his weapon, he winks at you, and others will be grateful as well. You know that. Word. Your assistance, huh? How about some dragon bones? He purses his lips and swallowing his pride. Oh, well, I've none. Our village doesn't really trade anything. I'll tell you if I find anything. Thanks, friend. And if all you have is a tale of their dead shells, bring me something to prove it, a trinket, a weapon, a thing we can throw into a pyre. Does this rawhide belong to your tribe? Oh, I already found Vashel, that's right. Fuck. That's right, we found Vashel. Oh, we found Vashel already. Fuck. I'll ask about this. He gives it only a glance and throws it away. I think so. After you describe where you found it, he reaches towards the wolf's head but doesn't touch it. Me and the other hunters go to this place in spring when there's fewer beasts around. Sit on blankets. He points at the hide. Eat before the hunt. Maybe you'll find a trail there. Oh, that's kind of weird that we just, like, maybe I could have sold it or something? That's right, this bone earring. That's Vashel's. He interrupts your tale many times, but having little knowledge to spare, you can't satisfy his curiosity. So you don't really know what happened. Just that their shell was in the woods. He gives you a long look, but finally nods. Any evidence? I took this earring. He observes it for a few moments, then lets out a sigh. So you did. They made this when they were but a little kid, and told me that once they had a child, they would never wear such ugly things. Their words. He lowers his fist, then looks towards the entrance to the village. I mean, it's not such a bad trinket. It's elegant. One bit of bad news isn't all, Maybe the others are fine. I'll tell you if I find anything. He looks at the sky. Are we done here? Do the hunters from the Pelt of the North hinder your job? Nah, they only get closer when they chase after wounded prey, so our woods stay mostly the same. You could have another village, twice our size. He glances towards the gate. Halfway from here to Pelt, and there would still be more than enough game for every belly, as long as they would forage and set up farms. You ask him if he has ever considered joining professional hunters, but he takes off the wolf's head and gives it to you so you can take a better look. It's weirdly warm from the sun. That's the only wolf any of us felled in the last 5 years, you see. Not that we're cowards. He suddenly raises his voice. Our trade just isn't like the big game hunters. I place fish traps, put glue to catch birds, shoot rocks at rats and rabbits. When in a group, we may seek roe deer or aurochs. He takes the hat back and looks at it with nostalgia. Those in the inn seek trophies, not meat, so they hunt for big beasts, ones that, fight back. Our ways are different, but I like that bunch. At least they smile, unlike others on the peninsula. Hunters will always find a common tongue. Once you see enough blood and guts, you have to laugh, or go crazy. What do you know about the road running through the heart of the forest? I know to avoid it. Blood there. Seeing that you're waiting for a longer tale, he adjusts his heavy cloak, spending a good minute on making sure that you understand it's a dangerous place. You'll do better riding around it. The northern road is the safest, he concludes. We've already gone through it. Thank you, Dougie. Take care of yourself. Thanks for saying hello, and I hope you have a good evening. After you insist that any sort of guidance may be of use, he scratches the wolf's head. I've heard from a friend that gnolls were moving there. Those very small beast folks, He moves an open hand close to his hips, portraying the height. They'll threaten you until you give them some meat, and that's all they eat. No fruits, no, bones. But it's the fright apes that scare me the most, and there's an entire family of them. Trust me, if you ever hear the terrible scream of a human somewhere in the tree crowns, run as fast as you can. Don't seek it, and certainly don't fight it. Just ride as fast as you can. I think we've encountered one so far. I'm not positive if that's what it was. I plan to help the foragers with catching a big runner. Any tips on how to approach this? So that's their scheme. He looks in the tavern's direction, pausing for a moment, then straightens up. So you're seeking advice from a more experienced hunter. He pats his club proudly. Well, there's the usual stuff. Don't fight hungry. Have a decent jacket. Be sure to have something to block a bird's charge. Oh, and maybe, he points at the sky, then stretches out his arms as if holding a long stick. A spear. The longer you keep a runner at a distance, the better. Have you ever fought such a bird? Not yet, but I ran away from a few. And not everyone can say that. He lets out a burst of jaunty laughter. They are way too common at the edges of our woods, if you ask me. Ever since I met the first one, I jog. Maybe not every day, but almost. I was wondering about Ella. Oh, he's telling us more already. Okay. He scratches the wolf heads, then nods. He's boring, you know that, and hides a lot behind those smiles of his. He spends days in the workshop, thinking we may be both as weak as we are now, and smart enough to prosper. There's work to be done, he mimics the carpenter's cadence. Aye, there always is. I know, Lane, the writing is really good. It's been consistently good. You want to ask about the weakness, but he gives you no time to speak. There's almost no folks from the older generations left. Did you notice? Foggy and Old Hava are the only two still capable of doing work, but they aren't getting any younger, and are already wounded. You think about the tavern keeper's lost arm. We were always lacking in numbers, blades, tools, and skills. The beasts took many souls, but Ella won't talk about it. He'd rather forget them and tie this place to the other villages, making us merchants and rotten carpenters. He adjusts his cloak, boiling from frustration, then risk the lives of the younger tribesfolk on training and hunting. We've suffered so much, yet we're becoming even weaker. He calms himself down with silence. So it's interesting. So, like, we found one of the hunters, one of his friends, and that was enough for him to trust us to tell us more about his brother. So that's kind of cool. Let's go to the creek and clean off. With the calming sounds of the waterfall around you, you observe the stream as clean as a spring. The oak ash soap and the teeth set you on can help you get cleaner. I jump into the stream. Alright, so we look less awful now. We look slightly less awful. Yeah, isn't that cool, Lane? So I imagine we'll get more as we learn more. Hopefully we find them alive. There are no fish or plants to bother with at your feet, and your feet find mud among the not always smooth pebbles. The water reaches above your waist, allowing you to have some fun and wash every spot of your shell. Thanks to the gentle flow, you were able to remove the mud stains from your clothes and boots. I'm as clean as I can get. I step away. Nagy is enjoying the cold stream and green grass to graze on, and welcomes you with a nicker. Let's speak with Old Hava. Nagy's loving it. You follow the path between the fields, witnessing a one-sided conversation between Old Hava and a barely adult man. She orders him around, pointing at various plants, criticizing the sight of weeds and addressing the fancy clothes he's wearing. He observes his red-dyed boots and lets out a relieved sigh after your arrival. I better change, he mumbles, heading to the main square. I step out of his way. The woman spares you a wry glance, then turns away, focused on the struggling vegetables. She's the only person in the village who wears clothes made of plant fabric, but they're weathered and covered with decades-old patches. Her hands, clasped behind her back, are constantly twitching. No worries, Lucidity. I'm glad you're enjoying your Sunday, man. Have a good lurk. Friendly. How are you doing? Playful. Youth, huh? Back in my day. Was this Mechie stream? Distanced. What do you have for sale? Intimidating. Don't test my patience. Why would we flex on this old lady for no reason? Vulnerable. I wait patiently. Let's be friendly. Ask how she's doing. After a moment, she turns to you slowly, chewing her bottom lip. I'm doing my break. Say what you want, and fast. What do you have for sale? New trader unlocked. We sold what we had. We're lacking hunters. And these, she looks at the wrinkled vegetables, will go into a stew if they're even worth picking. Without noticing it, she grabs her left forearm with her right hand, but it doesn't stop the twitching. We always have a fish trap to spare. We make them just in case. A large basket put in a creek and wait a day or two until something swims inside. I'll sell you one for 2 dragon bones. And if you'd rather eat something right away, she carries on after a short pause, our cooks would spare you a roast grouse or a chicken. It'll be cold, but fresh. We always have one. You never know when there are maggots in your supplies, and kids shouldn't skip a meal. You ask her to tell you more, but her patience grows thin. It's the best light roast in the north. We add plenty of spices to it, so it spoils slowly. That's it. Okay, Stu, but only because you asked so nicely. Cracks knuckles. Show me how this trap works. I mean, I know how the trap works. We already have one. And actually, we have a fish trap out, I think, at the ruins. Yeah. It's still pretty early, too. I'm not going to buy one of those. We already have one. Should probably buy some food. I'll buy one of these. I met some annoying howlers. Do you have any earplugs? Her shoulders flinch. Oh, will that work? They can break the skull of a deaf shell. After you shrug, she looks at one of the farmers who's wearing mufflon fur. Give me something good to eat, and I'll give you a few tufts of thick wool. Put them in your ears, then wear them under a tight hood. Oh, that's pretty good. Will a dragon bone be fine? Yeah, because I've got 4 dragon bones and only 1 food ration. She chews her bottom lip. I'd never ask for so much, but if you insist, she orders the farmer to bring her a knife. After a few minutes, you hold a new pair of earplugs. Okay, cool. I don't expect many merchants to reach this place. Why don't you move your traps to Foggy's? I'm looking for a place to sleep. We need another hut, and we have no space for it. She gazes at you with dry, tired eyes. If you need a scrap of floor, go to the tavern. Okay. What's it to you? She doesn't wait for your response. Does her yard look like it has place for nets? Space for nets, and it doesn't, so that's fair. Farewell. Maybe there are some locals looking for a match in other villages. I don't know what that means. Looking for a match? Matchmaking. Oh, God. Dating sim. After a few minutes, you find yourself sitting at a table with Shoshi, a dark-haired 20-year-old who some call a woodcutter, others a singer. In both of these roles, her massive stature must be of help. When she walks, she either carries a large axe on her shoulders or swings it around, towering over her tribesfolk like a chieftain from the tales of war. She admits she enjoys a friendly shag from time to time, but can't see a future for her in creeks. Enough of these friends lose their lives in the wilderness. I start seeing cats and gargoyles in every shadow. I'd rather have a few calm, safe years at the side of a pretty little woman whom I'll see in my bed in the evenings. Though, you know, friend, not just her. She lets out sonorous laughter. You mention that you don't know if she'll be able to keep her trade after moving away, and she strokes her axe with affection. I'd miss the woods, but who knows? My tribe can't be the only one that cuts trees around here, You try to ask her about her worldview, but she gets bored by the topic. We here, she looks around, have no temples and priests, and I don't aim to become one. Same. LV playing a dating sim. So which one would it be? Because that could be a good incentive for something in the future. So we need to find a woman for Shoshi who's cool with open relationships. Yeah, I would want it to be... I'd want it to be, like... I don't know, not like super traditional, obviously. That would be boring. I do like a good story. Let's travel. Let's travel south. The air is fresh, just as it was in the tavern. The light touches the road and shrubs blocked only by the single willow, wild and untrimmed. You're by a lake, too large for you to see its other bank, but the local soil isn't too fertile. There are only a few trees on the horizon, while the struggling bushes and grasses fight with layers of rocks. In the south, you see uninviting hills cut with tiresome roads. A gray rabbit is cleaning its fur near the brook, but the sound of hooves makes it hop towards the nearest shrub. Right after it sinks into the leaves, you hear its squeal cut off quickly. Whatever its hunter was, it leaves behind only the rustling of the thicket and a trail of blood. You wait for a long time with a hand on your axe, but the creature doesn't return. You relax a bit, then turn toward the stone statue of a young woman. Yeah, I love the ambient sounds in this game. They're very good. Yeah, poor rabbit. It's okay. It's not a real rabbit. It's not a real rabbit. Carla doesn't even care. She's having a very snoozy day. Let me see if I can show you. She's so good. Such a monument would be a better fit for a temple or a rich city folk's house. Here, without any cover, it's already losing its shape from the rains and dust. Chunks of the face and hair have already broken off. It has detailed eyes and human-like proportions, and the clothes are like fabric, petrified by a spell. The statue carries the usual traveling equipment, a walking staff, a gambeson, simple pants, now covered by leaves. I look at the pedestal. Maybe someone left a valuable offering here. You dismount and approach the bushes covering the legs and the pedestal. You see some old wooden bowls as well as rocks. You try to push the leaves away, but their stems are thick and healthy, crowded with insects and spiderwebs. Until you remove the thicket, you won't be able to see if there's anything worth stealing. Thankfully, there are no thorns, and the touch of a leaf doesn't make your finger itchy. We wash ourselves here? The brook would hardly cover your feet, but you could sit on the pebbles and splash yourself with water. The oak ash soap and the teeth set you own can help you get cleaner. Oh, I'm as clean as I can get. Okay. I need 3 pieces of bathing equipment, so I need 1 more piece of bathing equipment to get cleaner in small streams like this, but our appearance isn't as bad as it was a moment ago. In about half an hour. Let's try it. You tether Nagy to the tree, letting it choose between drinking, grazing, and napping. You repair your equipment, keeping an eye on the bush where you saw the rabbit's last moments. You use your weight to move the plants to one side, then cut right above the ground. The stems are healthy and flexible, so getting through them is rough, but you have enough strength to deal with them in a couple of minutes, then throw them into the lake. The work goes on for a bit, but once you're done, the statue stands in its former glory. A couple of old offerings are still on the pedestal. Polished rocks, bone figurines, and moldy bowls and plates that used to store food. In one vessel you see a dragon bone. It's dark and could be older than a generation, but would surely be accepted by any merchant. Nice. Ooh, should we take or leave the coin? Let's leave it for now. Leave it. We return to Nagy. Yeah, we don't have a fish trap. That's okay. Let's continue. The statue of a woman. And our fish trap is all the way down here. Let's continue. I think we're gonna run into that other settlement we've heard about, but we haven't seen yet. Pagos, Old Pagos, which if I remember right means Old Hill. Oh, I love the sound of the wind. Wind's howling. The valley is flanked by the hills. To the west, the grasses and bushes blend into the horizon and turn into another part of the forest. The southern hills are gray and tall, with fortress-like rock faces and a crown of conifers. The northern ones have countless sand-colored rocks lumped together like piles of rubble and clay, bearing hardly any soil or weeds. Pagos. The plants here are struggling. The grass is short and yellowish, sometimes dried out. The bushes have silver leaves, like many plants from sunny areas. The mushrooms can't hide in the shadows, but as you approach one you see it's growing from the remains of a dead bird. While others are covering old branches and other plants, they won't last much longer. It will be easy to spot any larger beasts around. You have to squint to spot the first threatening creature, a runner, as in the far east, close to the hills, though it completely ignores you, walking around and observing the grass, looking for its next prey. You don't have to worry about it for now. There are boot prints on the road, as well as in the short grass, fresher than on any other part of the eastern road. Since many mushrooms were cut away with a knife, and you notice few berries on the shrubs, you conclude it's a foraging spot for the people from the north, though there doesn't seem to be much food left. There are almost no prints leading farther south. I could try to forage for a bit. Picked up 2 bunches of wild plants. You let Nagy keep himself busy while you walk around looking for anything edible. It takes a fair bit of time. You don't plan to carry around raw mushrooms and bugs, and the wild vegetables need to be washed before you put them in your bags. You finally find a few handfuls of plants, fruits, and nuts. Next time, however, it's not going to be so easy, especially since the runner, a bird both taller and wider than you, observes you carefully, at first from a distance, then circling around you. After about a half an hour, you hear its piercing screech as the creature runs at you, shaking a beak larger than your head. You throw everything into a sack and get in the saddle. I should avoid this place while this beast is hanging around. Can we continue? Go past him? The only tracks in sight belong to small critters. The cabin has no window, but a stubborn beast could easily burst in through the old thatch. The gust of wind doesn't move the door. A curious ibex observes you from the crag, but flees from your gaze. I check on the cabin. You tether Nagy to the supporting beam. His curious eyes are tracking the crickets that jump along the grass blades. You stretch your limbs, adjust your armor, and reach for the axe. Bursting in's probably not a good idea. Let's listen. You sneak toward the door and crouch down. After maybe a minute, a quiet rattle comes from the inside, something similar to the sound of cracking knuckles. You peek... Sorry, that was Carla. You peek inside and just barely see a small part of the dusty room. A large spiderweb is spread among the knocked-down furniture. Let's see, we should use some magic here. What's that? Costs 3? 3 of 5? Carla's so loud, I know. You unwrap the linen sheet and grab the willow wand. Carla, please. Still as smooth as on the day you bought it. The pointy carved twig is thin but heavy from the injected quicksilver. I walk in and aim at anything that moves. A spider looks at you from the center of the web. Its shell is larger than your head, and the thin legs are longer than your arms. Its countless hair blends in with the walls. They're brown, gray, cream. What do? You were right. Let me think. I don't know if we've got time. Example, kick. What did our spell do? Spell? You aim the wand while the spider skitters off, shaking the entire web. You release the invisible wave, but fail to avoid the creature's spit. The sticky ooze hits your eyes, covering them like glued cloth. The sack of flesh smacks the floor. It clicks in agony. Your eyelids can't even blink. You hide the wand behind your belt and sit on the threshold blindly. Great, so now we can't see anything. Should probably act fast. The saliva clings tightly to your skin. You rip it off, suffering after every pull, but the results come quick. You slow down when you get to the eyelids. You're grateful for your reflexes. At least you still have eyes. You get to see the light slowly, then the shapes. The thing turns out to be gray and white. You stand up and look around. The room is covered with a thick layer of dust. Getting through the cobweb could be risky. A single thread won't stop you, but a bunch of them could grapple you for good. Oh, we could gather the web. Let's gather the web. We gathered a spool of spider silk. You bring a twig from the outside and use it as a spool. You don't have much practice, and wearing the gloves makes the necessary gestures even more awkward. From time to time, the silk breaks, but it shouldn't be a problem for a tailor. It's a material for stitching, and wouldn't be turned into cloth anyway. You notice maybe a dozen defenseless spiderlings. They flee toward the exit, with their speed limited by their tiny legs. They're smaller than a finger. Yeah, I don't know that would have worked. And maybe it would have, but it seems like it would have been a waste in exchange for being faster. They have the right to live. The creatures crawl over the threshold and disappear among the grass blades. It could be the first time they've ever been touched by the sun. I search the building. 2 quarrels. The chest hides a few old water skins and inedible stale rations. Among them, however, you find 2 quarrels for a crossbow. The bones have no obvious owner, but judging by their age and the lack of skull or human-like hands, you doubt they could be awoken by the fogs. The boots, rugged pants, an old sticky tunic, and other scraps are cheap and hide no jewelry. The bowls and mugs are empty. Why, I guess, is there any reason to drag the spider carcass and throw it into the forest? Is there any reason to do that? Yeah, I guess, huh? You put on your thick gloves and grab 4 spiders' legs at once. The corpse isn't heavy, so you drag it behind you. You reach the bushes at the edge of the road, and then lift up the entire creature. The more you shake it, the more distracting the twitches of its legs get. You send it into a tree trunk. It sinks into the thicket, causing a bit of a rustle among the dwellers. I guess there's nothing left for us there. Okay. The gentle road leads uphill, getting more rocky and bright as the trees grow sparse, just in case your eyes run toward a few drier parts of the meadow and you instantly shout at Nagy to make haste. A pack of short-haired wolves, at least 20 members strong, is chasing after you. Their coats are a mixture of yellow, black, and white spots, as if someone threw mud and paint at them. They move toward the road with a human-like speed, and you realize only some of them run straight at you. They're trying to get through my path. If it wasn't for your palfrey, the beast would have already caught up with you. Their trap was perfectly set up, not leaving you any path of escape. Your terrified mount is disciplined enough to stay on the beaten path, and even though one of the big-eared wolves almost sinks its teeth into your mount's thigh, you manage to squeeze between the hunters. For the next few minutes, you do your best to get further away, and while your gallop is indeed faster, the wolves easily shorten the distance by moving through the sparse forest. You cross a weird river bridge made of a stone slab, but the chase doesn't stop yet. Maybe I have something I could use here. Oh, I don't have enough. Shoot. You think about your sacks and bundles, but the pack won't wait for you to sort through things. The group gets larger and the further you go, as even more of its members, previously hidden among the rocks and grasses, now join the hunt, allowing their tired family members to slow down. You may be able to lose them after some time, but scaring or wounding some of them may force them to give up on their prey sooner. We don't have anything. Do I have anything that would restore Pneuma? I think only rest does that. Sleeping and resting, yeah. You focus on the road ahead, forcing your mount to speed up whenever a beast tries to catch it. After another few minutes, you return to the watchtower, but the pack doesn't give up on you yet. At least their numbers have stopped growing. You are already outside of their territory, and the handful of spotted, colorful shells also seem tired and are forced to stay on the beaten path. The gate cutting the road right next to the tower can't be crossed in the saddle. You have to make a turn. West or east? It's over here. I mean, I think we need to go west. East is into the heart of the woods. That wouldn't be very wise. Sorry, east would be... I think we want to go east. West is into the heart of the woods. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's go east. The road is in great condition. The forest in the south is lush, despite the steep rock face that divides it in half. You barely recognize any shapes in the entanglement of grays, browns, and greens, but after another few minutes, the howls stop. You don't slow down just yet. Those are some stubborn wolves. The northern landscape is just a meadow, which then morphs into barren hills and mountains, barely covered by the grasses and bushes. No horse could travel through such a barrier. Maybe the riding ibexes of the clanspeople from the growing mountains could manage. Nagy is exhausted, but patient, more happy to survive than it is angry at your wanderlust. At least you can hope the pack will move to a different place during the night. I better get out of the saddle and let it rest a bit before I move forward. Okay, that could have been worse. Point at this icon to display an entire area at once. Oh, that's cool. Okay. So this is like bigger than fits with the text. That's new. The road leads you downhill to the edge of a lake. The clearing around the dwelling is quiet with no crickets, flies, or even toads. The grass is not even knee-high. There are no signs of a wharf or boats, The wall wasn't coated and has already been bitten by winds and rains. I look for an entrance. Oh, okay, so it kind of shifts over. Right next to the gate, a gargoyle, or a stone look-alike, kneels on a slab. It's dark purple, almost black, with yellow, pointy teeth. Though its half-open mouth has no tongue, and the creature doesn't move even an inch, the eyes have been replaced by crystals, red like currant juice. I touch the gargoyle, I don't know why. Your hand seems tiny when placed on the monster's shoulder, which is coarse and cold like a rock. You consider pushing one of the teeth, but the eyes of the gargoyle suddenly grow brighter. What do you want? I'm not expecting anyone. The words are coming from the monster's mouth, though it remains still. Stand in front of me, I want to see your mug. The drawling voice belongs to a woman, but is lined with unnatural creaking. I step closer. The eyes don't rotate nor blink. Who are ye? Let's try vulnerable here. I'd like to ask you a few questions if that's fine with you. Is that so? My house isn't a shelter for vagrants. You need to stay somewhere. Go back to the tower. Do you even know who I am? I believe so. I don't, I'm afraid. I mean, I don't. I guess it could be Asterian, but I don't know that. I'm just getting to know the realm. So you lost your way and now you're wasting my time. You're lucky I'm not working. Remember, I meet with people only in the evenings or the early mornings. Wait where you are. We're opening the gate. The monster's eyes darken again. Soon after, you hear heavy steps and the earth shakes. Something lifts the beam blocking the gate. You realize that your hand is already on the haft of your axe. I try to relax. I'm safe. One day such instincts are going to save my life. The gates open violently and rebounds with a loud thud, almost closing again. The creature in front of you is made of floating rocks that appear to be connected, but it's just an illusion. They could twist and bend in every direction. The eyeless sentinel faces you blankly. You've seen other golems in Havlavan, endlessly helping with bothersome tasks, but you've no idea what makes them move. It lowers its slab-like hands and steps aside, making way for you. Its head rotates, following your steps, but other than that, it's as motionless as a statue. Oh, that's cool. Looks like there's another one. Very cool. I enter the yard. The house in front of you has a huge entrance, just large enough for a golem. The building is whitewashed, but the lime is aged and damaged. The tools are spread around in no particular order. The rocks resting on top of the shed resemble the golems. A few birds stare... Is it golem? Golem? A few birds stare at you from the roofs, while many more ignore you. None seem willing to approach the garden patches despite the growing, though neglected, vegetables. It's quiet here. Golem, right? Yeah. Oh, that sounds cool, Flower. Yeah, they're in a berserk as well, actually. I approach the sitting golem. That's pretty cool. It seems dead, inactive, as city folk would call it, but the pneuma still makes its chunks float less than an inch away from one another. It doesn't react to your presence. Unlike the previous golem, this one bears engraved signs on its larger rocks. Their meaning is unclear to you, and you can't tell if they're a decoration or carriers of a spell. A leaf of the doors opens. I step closer. The woman is tall and stands upright with her arms crossed and legs apart. She's more than 30, with a face touched by lack of sleep. She gives you a long look, observing your blade, hands, boots, forehead, everything but your eyes. I greet ye, without the distortion caused by the gargoyle. Her strong voice isn't as disquieting. No surprise that it caught your eye, but don't disturb it. It's very much awoken and will defend itself. Or me, if it comes to it. I give her a better look. The girl's saying. She's wearing a long, ragged robe covered in stains. It used to be blue, but is now unevenly pale. She's barefoot, with skin covered with dust and dirt. Her dark hair was recently washed, but it's untidily spread on her shoulders, back, and chest. She wears no jewelry, belt, or buckles. Are you looking for a girlfriend? Glad you have a moment to spare. I won't bother you for long. That sounds good. She looks at the ground and drawls out her words. I sure hope not. I'm not interested in chatter. If you need to bother me, speak in the tongue of dragons and barter. I don't serve stew. I don't offer baths. If you come here, I better get aught from it. She walks past you and cocks her head toward the golem who let you in. It turns around and shuts the gate. Good. Good that you came at such an hour. Keep it up in the future. If you ever come here in the middle of the day, you'll stand outside, looking at the doors like an ibex. And here I am, Eudocia, the best and only enchantress in this corner of the world. Her voice remains cold. Why are you here? So we've heard of her before. An enchantress living in a lonely house near the Eastern Road. She doesn't allow anyone in her house while she works. I should ask to meet her. I should ask her to meet me in the early morning or a few hours before dusk. I met Eudocia, a skilled enchantress who lives near the Western Road. The guild could benefit from her powerful golems. The guild. The guild. Trying to learn more about the peninsula. I'm looking for Asteria in the previous Roadwarden. I'm looking for a job. I was hoping you could fill an item of mine with Numa. Let's ask this first. She leans away, frowning. I can't even begin to describe how much I hope you aren't here to exchange gossip. If you crave it so much, ride south to the Pelt of the North. The keeper is stiff like a broom, but offers a nice room. She glances at you, but her gray irises remain absent. Or if you'd rather visit a cheerful place, ride north to Foggy Lake. Or was it Foggy's Lake? Whatever. Foggy is the keeper. At least she's not as boring as the other guy. That's true. Foggy's pretty cool. Do you have anything to sell? Well, I'm not a trader. I do the stuff people ask me about, and they're not for sale. She glances at the house, then toward a pocket at her hips. There's but one tool that I'm willing to part with for 10 bones, but it's for spellcasters only. Oh, I wish we could buy it. She reaches out to you. On her open palm, you see a flat, small pebble, bluish, but in no way unusual. You put it in your mouth and press it to your palate. No chewing, she smirks. If you're a sorcerer, it will restore your Numa. Oh, that's dope. I can't afford it. I really want it, though. What if it's used by someone who still has Numa in them or can't use magic? Oh, you don't want to do that. She grabs the ends of her hair. It will boil your blood and rip your skin apart. Each shell is like a bottle for Numa. It has its limits. You can train to contain more of it, like I've been doing for more than 20 years now. But there's no magical rock that's going to do it for you. Please? Wouldn't a potion be easier to use? Do I smell of smoke and mushrooms? God, I want to smell like smoke and mushrooms. I'm not going to play around with flasks and alembics. Alembics. There we go. I found it. Flasks and alembics. She shakes the rock. This one won't break, won't scatter, won't spoil. Perfect for a traveler, or any buyer, really. She steps away and adjusts her dirty robe. It works, and it won't hurt you. If you're smart with it, it's a lifesaver. I'll think about it. Need aught else? Surely you filled some arrows with Numa before. Any ideas where this is from? I show her the one that I found near the fallen tree. Why are you tracing a murderer? She smirks, but then grabs the arrow and takes a quick look. Black and orange. I don't know much about wood, but I recognize these feathers. The people of Gale Rocks breed such pheasants. She gives it back. It's in the far north, close to the coast. Oh, so it must be that way. I wonder how big this map is going to get. Have you ever been to the shortcut? Only once, she admits slowly, and it's not a good memory. Her brief tale is rather vague. She once had to use her golems to travel to the other side, seeking a remedy for her stomachache. The beasts were afraid of the noise they make. She points at the massive stone legs of her creations. But the monkeys in the far west were too dumb even for that. They kept throwing things at us, even poop. She pauses, making a disgusted grimace. We couldn't reach them or scare them away. You ask what happened next, but she crosses her arms. I was told it's better to ignore them, let them get used to one's sight, but my stomach was better already, so we just took the long way back. A few hunters recently left creeks and haven't returned so far. Dahlia, Admin, and Vashel. Have you met them? So we know what happened to Vashel. Admin, he was here all right. Asked me about the lands east of the stone bridge in the north, but I couldn't help him much. Those lands are better left to... She pauses, then waves it off. So Admin asked about the lands east of the stone bridge in the north. Can I look at my map right now? Stone bridge in the north. Maybe it's up here. Or that, the old bridge, so east of the stone bridge in the north. So maybe there will be a path here. So just north of her, perhaps. I've heard about some bandits. Don't they bother you? She puts her hands on her sides and straightens up, displaying her unusual height. Is this another sick game of hers? If so, tell her I'm not interested either in her head or her offers. You notice the sudden movement of her golem. Okay, she's not willing to talk about the bandits. So what's your story? She's not going to want to answer that. She looks around. No. No what? I'm not here to tell you bedtime stories or to hear about your own sad life. She lets out a long sigh, trying to limit her frustration. Back off. That's predictable. I have some questions about your golems. She walks around the closest sentinel and observes it like a farmer would a donkey before a purchase. Isn't it clear what they are? Furniture that walks and works. They carry rocks and logs, hunt, kind of, and protect this place while I rest. What else is there to say? Do they talk? Eudocia still moves her lips, but her words are coming from the stone creature, which doesn't move an inch. No more than the gargoyle you've seen. The voice is deep, distorted by an echo. They don't need meat or bones, listen to my commands, but have no understanding of what's happening around them. To create a sentient creature, you'd need a human shell and a whole lot of necromancy. The golem raises its hands and shows you its palms, and I'm not going to touch that. She then mentions that her creation isn't much of a messenger. It needs to remain close to her. Just look at it. The golem covers its non-existent mouth. It has no eyes, snout, ears. Seeing the world through its head is like putting your eyeball into a rose bush. It takes pneuma, and the further away it is, the more exhausting it gets. I've played Human Shell. It's pretty good Souls-like. Not a good thing. How do you make one? I fill each rock with pneuma, bind them together. She pauses, then waves it off. You won't build one anyway. Like alchemists, enchanters have their own secrets, but I've got no way of sharing my talents with others. I don't want to ask if it's for sale. It's so loud when it walks, don't monsters react to its presence. She lets out a chuckle. They flee from them as they would from trolls. They can't stalk their prey or jump on them from a bush, but when they don't move for long, beasts take them for rocks. It's not like they need to breathe. It just sits still, waiting for a roe deer to get close. The golem's eye suddenly gets brighter. It jumps forward and punches the air. It lands with the sound of thunder. That's why I need them to be so large, the enchantress explains. I can't give them muscles. The speed I give them is pure pneuma. Being firm and heavy helps. She disregards your mention of the wrath of the herds. True, I make more mess than most humans would, but that's one of the reasons why I stay away from the villages. Being all alone, I give the beasts time to get used to my walls, and my sentinels know to stay away from unicorns and pebblers. I guess I'll ask if it's for sale, but I know she'll say no. Oh, never mind. One day or so, I hope. She points at a golem's hand. One wrong order and it'll tear your head away, or kick over a house. It won't ever be safe, but the dead make for bad customers, and I won't be blamed for others' stupidity. Her further answers come in greater detail, but they're rather complex. From what you understand, she plans to invent a set of very specific commands that could be quickly learned, then bind them to a wand, binding it to the creature. I'm still not sure if it's the safest solution. If a wand was taken by a reaver, stuff could get ugly. Let's change the topic. Her lips form a smile. If anyone asks you about them, don't spare good words. They're things of wonder. My greatest enchantment. I saw some words on your golems. What do they mean? She looks at your right elbow. It's not, Warden. Decorations. She doesn't trust me enough to tell me more about the words. What's with the gargoyle? Can't an enchantress show off her trophy? She gives you a proud smile. My sentinels took it down years ago. The tribe of Old Pagos is fond of statues, so I have my own. Like in the old days, long before monks came to the north. Seeing your puzzled look, she twirls her hair. A dead gargoyle on the road, or by a village gate, was meant to scare off evil spirits. I don't know about that, but its sight sure taught the local beasts who they're dealing with. Oh, cheers, Flower. Thank you, Ghost. I hope everybody enjoys it. This game is definitely different from me, but I think it's a great game to stream. The sound is great, and the music, this is maybe my favorite song we've heard so far. I love the way the guitars kind of come over, like on top of everything else. They kind of like cascade upward. It's really nice. I like how she's using a dead monster as a video doorbell. I mean, we've all said and thought that exact same thing so many times. I agree, it is pretty cool. I wonder if she wants a girlfriend. What can you tell me about enchanting? Oops, did I skip something? No, I thought I might have double-clicked on accident. Let's actually look at this real quick. Even though she drawls out her words with frustration, she speaks with ease, as if she's reciting a memorized speech. I know how harsh the woods can be, but I don't offer shelter to travelers. I don't want to look behind my own shoulder for hours or use my golems to protect you. Travel north or south. Look for a tavern or an inn. You'll find a safe hearth there. She blinks and crosses her arms. And we're both adults. Don't tell me that I could bind you with a rope or take away your blades. The less I have to touch you, the better. I'm looking for Asteria in the previous Roadwarden. She raises her chin, challenging your look. I know not where he may be, but if he wanted to be found, he'd let us find him. She glances at the gate. Aught else? I'm looking for a job. New entry, bronze rods. She stands still for a moment, then cocks her head to the side. I've got some stuff that could use another hand, if you're up for some danger if it comes to it. You nod and ask what sort of creature is bothering her. No, I meant riding and climbing. If you can do it without grabbing that axe of yours, fine. Now, give me a moment. She opens one of the heavy doors to her house, and you catch a glimpse of a messy bed and a floor covered with clothes. After a minute, she shows up with a large sack filled with rods made of smooth, clean bronze. Here's the gist of it. I need you to get to 8 spots across the peninsula. High buildings, trees, mountainsides. I don't really travel much. She lets out a confident chuckle, so I can't hold your hand. I need one of them in White Marshes, in the wetlands far west of here. Other than that, you need to keep your eyes open. She takes one of the rods. Once you reach a good spot, place one of these as high as you can. I'll pay you in dragons, 2 for each one, but place at least 4 before you come to see me. I need as many of them out there as possible. So far, so good. What are they for? Well, there's magic in them, as you can imagine. You weigh a rod in your hand. Even though it's more than 2 feet long, it's light, empty inside. You could bend it on your knee. The bag also contains a long hemp cord and a scrap of cloth. If I were to send my golems away, let's say a mile or 2 from here, they'd stop moving at all, waiting for me to show up. She approaches the nearest sentinel and touches its chest. They carry similar rods inside, so the plan is to give my orders better range, so to speak. I'm tired of depending on hirelings, especially since they no longer stop by. She leans against the golem with her arms crossed. Questions? It's cool, so we're setting up like an antenna network. Oh, cheers, Ghost. Thank you for saying so, man. I appreciate that. How much time do I have? Hopefully as much time as I need, right? Oh, don't worry about it. She dusts off the golem's arm. Let's say before the leaves turn yellow. Some of the locals may not be happy with me putting bronze rods on their rooftops. And I can be sure that you've no plans to raid the villages with an army of unstoppable sentinels, right? Her gray eyes give you a long, disquieting look. You could swear it's getting colder here. I won't ask for your trust, and I don't need it. Either help me, or leave the rods and do your own stuff. Oh, no worries. No worries at all, Joe. Do whatever you need to do. It's nice that you're here at all. And if this is helping you get through otherwise unpleasant things that you need to take care of, that's frankly ideal. Oh, thank you so much for saying that. That's really nice of you. She gives you a puzzled look. Wardens do have their ways to get on people's good side, correct? I may be forced to pull some strings to get it done. 2 dragon bones won't be enough. Ooh, so we could like gamble to get more? Should we try to gamble to get more? Let's try it. You haggle for a bit, but her distrust is like a wall. She waves your arguments off. I'm not a merchant. I don't gather coins for the thrill of it. I'm putting almost 20 dragons on the table here. Should be enough. Do all 8 rods, and I may prepare aught else for you. We have a deal. She avoids your eyes. Great. Just don't die on the road. This bronze cost me many favors, and be sure to leave one of the rods in White Marshes. Fair enough, Flower. I immediately regret that I asked for more. She's like, how about I just tear you apart? How about that? The roads around the watchtower are in terrible shape. Why don't your golems look after them? Why would I bother? You expect her to continue, but her question is earnest. The paths are getting overgrown. Soon getting to the other villages will be close to impossible. She twirls her hair, looking in the direction of the tower. It may be for the better. She starts listlessly, then shakes her head gently. You may be right. I hoped the trail would take care of itself, with traders and all, but the years are getting emptier. Still, I need my workers to seek food and to guard my walls. She speaks mostly to herself. I could bring you some rations in return. Wait, what are we offering? Oh, we're going to bring her rations if they clear the... Okay, I see. She observes your boots, then crosses her arms. The more bronze rods there are spread across the peninsula, the easier it is for me to send the golems into the woods. For now, let's say 20 rations. I've never even seen 20 rations. I guess gentler roads will get me more food anyway, so I don't need you to bring me any barrels. I can't afford it. I'll think about it. But that'd be pretty cool. We could, like, go all around the peninsula setting up these like cell towers, basically. And then anywhere things need to be done that's really heavy work, she could send these like stone automatons to clear things. That could be kind of cool. I'll think about it. I'm listening. Could you fill an item of mine with Numa? That's not how this works. She points at her golems. Her nails are short and clean, and her hands are soft. I work all the time, but each item takes me days, sometimes a full season. The tribes bring me things to enchant in the early spring and collect them a year later. I've got to... She blinks a few times, not sure what to say. Her gray eyes widen. Imagine stuff. It takes great focus. You mentioned that you generously reward her, but she only shrugs. You don't plant, you don't build. I won't eat dragon bones. For now, do your warden duties and come by the end of autumn. Maybe I'll have time to get something done for you after the thaws. Yes. Yes. Roadwarden, it's me, Die Hardman. I need you to plant more brass rods. Oh, bronze. Excuse me, bronze rods. Same universe. Nagy is BB. Confirmed. What if I'm in desperate need? She rolls her eyes. You and everyone else. She waits for me to place at least 4. He really is. It's too dangerous to stay here. You can't sleep here, but there's still time to travel to a safer spot. You can find the closest shelter at Tullia's camp, but the creatures of the night are surely going to attack you. So we're here. Can I? Oh, I can't stay here. I can't sleep here because there's not enough space for Nagy. Oh wait, no. I want to go to Tullia's camp. Oh. Can I not do that? Let's try it. Oh, it's gonna cost us a little bit of... Okay, I see. What do we think the map looks like? Dinosaur skull. Oh, I see that. I could see that for sure. Yeah. Ooh, we're on the verge of death. And it affects your appearance. You look like hell, dude. No problem. Tullia welcomes you with a smile. Is everything all right? You look terrible. You hear laughter. The soldiers are practicing with their bows, shooting at a target in some sort of game. The man is mocking his superior in a friendly banter. I have more questions. Guess what? I met with Caius. You mentioned the tavern in Foggy's care. Tullia sighs with relief and rests her hands on her sides. Alive. That's good to hear. Deserter or not. How's he doing? He's insane. I don't remember Caius. Let's look at our journal real quick. Humans. I don't see him. I honestly don't remember who this is. You mentioned the tavern in Foggy's care. Tulia sighs with relief and rests her hands on her sides. Foggy's care. So were they up at Creeks? No, that was Foggy's Lake or whatever, right? It's interesting that I don't have Foggy Lake. I don't have a Foggy Lake entry. I haven't the foggiest. Okay. He's a man of faith now, kind of. He's insane. The people around him try to put him to good use. His soul is healing, even if slowly. That's a nice thing to say, we'll say that. You describe what you've seen, making her reach behind her head and take a deep breath. Guess I ought to be a bit less angry, thinking about my squad. Though that's quite a request, she chuckles. I'm so glad he found kindness in this land. I wish he didn't have to look for it, though. Were any hunters from the north passing by your camp recently? Not from the north, not from the south. She lets out a weak chuckle. I didn't expect this place to be that desolate at this time of year. You're the only soul we've seen in days, unless you count beast folk. Unless they're from Creeks, I don't. She smiles. Well, I didn't ask them, so there's always a chance. Thanks. You ready to prepare your sleeping spot? Barrel with water. We can't get cleaner. Let's sleep. Sleeping on the ground. That sucks. Wait. Let's eat something maybe? Will that help us? Character. Sleeping and resting. Sleeping here will be severely uncomfortable. I don't need to eat. Numa 2 of 5, cost 2. So this is sleeping like this doesn't cost us anything, but that restores. Okay, I see. So we're gonna do it like that. Okay. I think I just got that last time we were playing. The shivers wake you up. You hear the soldiers gathering outside. The fog is so dense you hardly see the wall around you, and the screeches of beasts are so distorted you can't tell them apart. Fogs tend to get more common in late summer, but the tribes of the Dragonwoods often see them as a bad sign. The wild spirits they carry are believed to impact both the visible and the invisible, and not in ways that help humankind. I allow the fog to touch my shell and fill it with Numa. Oh, that's cool. I sigh. If there are any undead in these woods, the fog will strengthen them. Let's definitely... yeah, let's use it to our advantage at least, right? Yeah. You notice it while you undress. One of your recent wounds is going to leave a mark. I first notice it by touch, then see it in the reflection on my blade, a long cut on my cheek. The deep cut in my hand still hurts, especially when I make a fist. Oh, it's like we're like choosing with this where we're hurt, I guess. I managed to ignore, but the cut on my leg hurts with every step. The bruises on my stomach look like a night sky. Why would I care? It happens to all travelers. Given enough time, let's just keep it clean. I wonder if we chose the one on our face, if that would like permanently affect our appearance or something. Your back begs you to stand up. A green field mouse is foraging in the grass, unaware that you've noticed it. You prepare Nagy for the journey ahead. I wonder if I travel to the Pelt of the North quickly enough, if we can rest for a day. Yes. Let's rest. You're hungry. Eat a food ration. Rest. It's been a relaxing day, but free of boredom. You spend almost an hour looking after your mount, but at least it's now clean and cheerful. You patch holes in your bundles to the soothing sounds of a late summer drizzle. At one point, you were invited to some friendly combat practice with the hunters, and you made sure not to take it too easy. Sitting beneath an open window, 3 guards are arguing about something, but then ease the tension with friendly banter. The innkeeper is dusting the counter and the shelves with a cloth. I go to the innkeeper. So you again. Need anything? Oh, let's try for some leftovers. Not today, no. Maybe tomorrow. About Glaucius' band. He freezes, observing your hands silently. Oh, did I not? Okay, I wonder how I missed that, because we've been to Howler's Dell. Can we buy... Oh wait, can I sell anything? A raw fish? Don't put it on the counter if you may. He glances at your catch, then at the stove. My crew doesn't hunt for fish. The lakes and rivers are too far away, and they ain't trained with all the weaving, worms, and rods. Sell me 2 at once, and I'll give you a coin. I ain't wasting the firewood on just one. I only have a single fish. That's all. What are you selling? Do I have anything you'd like to buy? Show me your wares. Food rations. I definitely need a food ration. That's all I need. I go outside. What are you buying? Go to the well. I can't get any cleaner. I need more health. Your sleep gets distorted by the foul smell coming from your bundles. The raw fish meat is now rotting. Its state will get worse with every day, but even now you struggle to imagine that you could continue your journey with this smell around. I throw it somewhere where it won't bother anyone and get back to sleep. What a waste. That sucks. You hear a thunderous roar. You rise to your feet and rub the sleep from your eyes. The doors are opening. People are shouting orders and words of warning. As you open the window, you see what's behind the commotion. Something is on the other side of the wall, trying to get through, and the guards are fighting it off with their torches, spears, and crossbows. Thanks to their light, you see the large, furry paws placed on the top of the wall walk. As far as you can tell, the beast is but a single leap away from getting inside. Let's help. You look for your gambeson and blade, still a bit foggy in your thoughts, and once you find them, you struggle to get inside the jacket. As your habits kick in, you see the innkeeper right in front of you, holding a candle. You're a guest. Stay here, he says without a shadow of hesitation. My team has no time to worry about outsiders. Just after his words, you hear cheerful laughter from the wall. Judging by the way they point their fingers and lower their weapons, the beast is fleeing. Well, I shouldn't expect people will need my help all the time. The small room is quiet, far away from unwanted eyes. You take a calm bath, rest on a soft mattress, look through the window, and enjoy the minutes of safety. In the morning, you find a stool with a large wooden plate bearing an aromatic breakfast, fresh rye bread, a sausage, a bowl of berries, and a mug of malty beer. Downstairs, the innkeeper is putting firewood into the stove. He asks if you need anything. Any leftovers? Not today, no. Maybe tomorrow. I mean, I think we need to rest again, like... It's been a lazy day. Repairing your equipment and taking care of your mount didn't take nearly as much time as you'd expected, and you instead enjoyed some refreshing water. Observe your surroundings with a clear head, wander about, and stretch out. After a few hours, you feel rather bored, but at least you have an opportunity to gather your thoughts. Some of the hunters occupied the watchtower, while the rest of the group went after some big game beyond the walls. The open windows fill the hall with refreshing air and the sounds of conversation. The innkeeper is sitting behind the counter, contemplating an empty mug. Hardly any light reaches the ground through the clouded sky. The deep night, as some people call it. So dark that you can't see the fingertips of your extended hand. You try to look outside, but to no avail. Even the predators will spend the next few hours hidden, unsure what surrounds their shelters and hideouts. Not all of them, though. You hear cheerful howling coming from the heart of the forest. A hunt queen, or maybe a hunt lord, has already captured its next meal. It is time. It is absolutely time. I'm sorry, Jill. I'm so bad with that kind of stuff. Yes, Stu. Yes. I should feel safe in such a well-guarded stronghold, but just in case, I crawl to the window and make sure it's closed. The uncomfortable sleeping spot and the sounds of conversation and closing doors wake you up a few times during the night. Nevertheless, your back survives. The morning air here is stuffy, and the innkeeper is already starting a fire in the stove. He asks if you need anything. We'll try again. Any leftovers? Not today, no. Maybe tomorrow. That's too bad. We really need to eat something. Alright, so we're looking like we're in pretty good shape now. I don't think we need to rest again today. So yeah, that sets us up actually really well. We're only on day 10, which it felt like more. I'd like to ask about someone. He sighs and looks out a window. Fine. You know what you're doing. Who are you wondering about? Tell me about... Oh. Let's see. Who do we know that we might ask about? Oh, Eudocia. Let's try asking about Eudocia. Oh, Eudocia is crazy. She lives in a lonely house all by herself, skinny and dirty like a corpse eater, surrounded by golems. Never smiles, never cries. One of those. She never leaves her home, and if you see it from far away, it looks abandoned. A few times a year, people travel to her and trade barrels of food for magical items. So that doesn't take time to talk. That's good to know. How about... Let's ask him about Foggy. You mean Foggy the tavern keeper, I assume. You'll find her on the northern road, far from here. Truth be told, I don't know much about her. Tavern and inn owners don't have many opportunities to see each other, he chuckles. But she's a fun one, drinks a lot, makes feasts, ain't as scared of beasts as most people. Looks like there's some good coin to be made in her scrap of the peninsula. He looks away. Who'd have guessed? Or maybe she just has a nose for coins. Hi, Sal. Welcome in. In the kitchen or with the cat. Okay, let's call it here on Roadwarden. Let's save. Wow, we didn't save that whole time. We should definitely save more. Wow, we didn't save at all. Let's save twice because we're gamers.